Hey guys, so I'm here making the second video and I want to apologize about the first video, the Omaha Aero Better, if you saw that, for being number one, pretty bad quality, and number two, pretty long. But this one you're going to enjoy a lot more. What we're going to do is, I played a tournament, I believe a week ago, and it was a $3 rebuy tournament on PokerStars, and I got first place. And fortunately at that point I was running my poker tracker throughout the tournament, so all the hands that I played were saved into the tracker, and so I went through all my hands and I picked out certain hands I want to go over. I played, I believe, in this tournament, so it went for about 7.5 hours. Right here, that's the tournament. Let's see if we can find, okay, so the number of hands, uh, the number of hands, I'm not sure how many hands we played, but there's quite a lot. And so I picked out certain hands to see uh, different situations, and the quality of the video is a lot better this time. So let's go ahead and jump right into the first hand. So I marked them on the left. You'll see like a little box for the hands I marked. So we're pretty much going. This is the first hand of the tournament, and then all the way down is the last hand. So we're going in order. So at this point I'm not playing too many hands. Kind of just a standard raising and c-betting and maybe limping with pairs and whatever sometimes. So here we go. Again, it's a rebuy tournament, and I believe at this point the rebuy was not over yet. Okay, and so let's. Okay, so every hand that I'm gonna play, my HUD stats are gonna come. For those who don't know that, these are pretty much stats that I use sometimes. And the reason I use these stats is because I'm usually playing a lot of different tournaments at the same time, and so uh, you know uh, when you're playing so many different tournaments at the same time, it's hard to keep track of how people are playing. So this helps me determine how a certain player plays. I'm just putting a basic one here. The first number is the number of hands I have on that player in that specific tournament. Second one is the VPIB, which is how many hands they're playing. The third one is the percentage of the hands they're raising, and the last one is how aggressive they are overall. So here we go. We are right over on the button. Let me open my hand. I have ace king suited. Excuse me, I'm still kind of sick. So buddy beat right there. I don't have a lot of hands on him, so I'm not gonna interpret anything. 27 over 27. He raises and no please call. Looks like a decent player. Average lag or tag. Any flat, so I can put him on a pocket pair, I guess, here. Maybe even suited connectors or true two Broadway cards, kind of like the Jack Queen suited if you play that. Now here are my couple of options. I'm definitely not gonna flat with my chip stack. We only have 3,000 and blinds are 4080, and in a rebuy tournament people are playing pretty aggressive early on, especially in a small stake one. So I'm gonna raise. Now the question is, the pot itself is 600. I could shove, or I could re-raise. I think at this point I want to get value out of hands, but I mean, I have ace king suited. I might miss a lot of flops like 5, 6, 7, and so I think a shove is okay too. But since it's a rebuy tournament, I didn't mind missing the flop and then busting and then rebuying. So I decided just to raise it up to 1040. Um, and I was hoping I'll pick up at least one of them. So he decides to reshove, which is great for me because if he has the pocket pair, no cleats, he's gonna fold here. Since he has 4300 and it does fold, and we call and he turns over his queen. If even if you see the flop, three-handed, chips are going well. See, I'm glad he shoved because on the flop it'd be so hard for me to see bet. Even if I see bet half pot and he shoved, which he would have, then I don't know what we would have done, but it worked out for the best. So that was the first time. So we doubled up to about 6,000. All right. Let's see the second hand I have marked right here. Actually, two hands later. Two hands later, we get ace king again, same suits. And this time, let's see what happens. We have this kid right here. He opens. We have 42 hands on him. So now this is an interesting spot. He is 5/2. He's playing relatively tight. That's his second raise out of roughly 50 hands. So I'm still gonna three bet. I could just flat, but the reason I want to flat is because I have a fish here who's playing 40% of the hands, even though we don't have a number of hands on him. But I feel like if I flat here, I'm giving him an opportunity to flat, and I'm giving this other fish in the big blind an opportunity to flash. Plus, he only has about 1,000. So, I mean, I really wanted to ISO. If this was later in a tournament, and if oh, I'm sorry, he didn't raise. Wait, this guy raised. I'm sorry. So this guy didn't raise. Sorry. So he raised. So this is a fine re-raise because he's raising. You know, he's a decent player. But let's say if ORS 39 would have raised, and if I had more hands on him, and if it's at 5-2, I would have decided to just flat here and taken a flop because he's not raising a lot, and plus he's raising for early position. But in this case, this guy's raising, so three bet is fine. And it's a smallish kind of three bet, but we're both pretty deep, so I don't want to put in too many chips. And so he decides to call, which is great. And flop comes king 7. Now here's the thing: what kind of hands is he raising with? He could have pocket pairs. He could have um, he could have suited connectors in his range, but I don't. I mean, if he is a decent player, I don't think he raises suited connectors this early in the tournament, in a rebuy tournament where people are flatting a lot with random hands. So I put him on a pocket pair. Maybe he has a king queen or ace queen kind of hand. And I think the best play here is to c bet. But I saw that when he plays his hand, he plays him pretty aggressive with 53%. And I felt like I could get maybe 2 streets of value here. But I felt like if I bet the flop and if I bet the turn, he's probably gonna fold because of his chip stack. You know, if I bet the flop like 800 and he calls, the pot is now let's say 2,900, and the turn I bet 1,500, or you know, maybe even shove. I don't know. He he folds because of my aggression here. I could bet the flop, check the turn, bet the river. Um, The problem with the check here could be that if he has a pocket pair and he's folding the flop, he can hit a full house. Another problem with the flop, or checking flop, could be that if he has something like sevens and a queen comes, now he has two overcards to worry about. So it looks like betting would be the best play. Um, but again, with betting, you might only get 1 street of value. And so I decided to check it. Now when I'm checking here, I could be checking behind ace king, which I am, but I could also be checking behind hands like other pocket pairs like queens. But because I did 3 bet, remember, so he can't just assume that I'm 3 betting light. But I could have my probably best holding here either is pocket queens, pocket aces, or pocket kings. So now turn comes the 5 of diamonds and he leads out. Now here definitely my only player is to call. I cannot raise because if I raise, it seems too strong. I could shove and what's the word I'm looking for? Represent. Yeah, I could represent like an ace queen of diamonds kind of hand. But I think flatting here is fine. bets half pot. So I mean, it looks like a bet with a pocket pair. Looks like he has eights or something. Maybe even like tens because he raised. Expect him to limp with very small pocket pairs. He could have a king queen kind of hand. Um, I think with a flush draw he would have bet a lot more. Like if he has an ace jack of diamonds, he would have bet maybe like 1,000. But he bets and I'm obviously not raising here, so we just call him four to the blank and he checks. So now I know my hand is good. If he has a busted flush draw, which I don't think yeah, I think he fires another bullet. Or actually ace jack has a short on value, but I think on the turn he bets a lot more if he has a flush draw. So this likely holding right now is definitely a pocket pair. He might have a king and he's trying to trap me. Um, if he puts kind of flush draw or whatever. But I think if he has a king, he should really value bet here because I'm gonna check behind and let sixes. So now I gotta think how much he's gonna call. He has 3,000. I could shove here, but those kind of play I prefer in cash games. In tournaments, I wanna grind my stack. So I think anywhere around maybe half pot, maybe even 1,600 would be good. I don't know what I bet here, but let's see. I bet 1,680. And as soon as I felt like maybe it's a big bet because if he calls, he's pretty much committing, more than half of his remaining stack. But see, this is the advantage of a rebuy tournament where even if he has, little chips left, he can just shove in randomly and then rebuy. So I bet, and he called, and I'm glad he called because I felt like maybe I bet too much. He should have pocket eights. I think if I bet the flop, he calls. I think on the turn, I think he still calls because it's a five. So um, I think that the best play maybe would have been to c-bet, check the turn behind, and then bet the river, or c-bet, and then maybe he gives me 3 sticks of value. So I think I did miss some value in this hand by checking the flop. Um, but we picked up some chips, so that's good. All right. Actually, let's continue this in part two. And unlike the last video, I want to move in faster, so I don't want to make this into an 8-part video. So we'll continue in part two now.